After eating dinner alone, I return to my room. It's a little before 10 o'clock.
よし、行くか。
I tuck the knife away in my pocket and leave the room as quietly as I can. It must be due to the serial killings. I didn't run into anyone on my way here, and the park is similarly devoid of human presence. And there she is. There's only one solitary silhouette of a woman in white.
Shiki!
But for whatever reason, arcueid shouts at me as soon as she sees my face.
なんだよ。もしかして時間間違えたか俺。
そう。もう何時だと思ってるのよ。約束の時間を10分も過ぎちゃってるじゃない。
10 minutes? I mean, despite the fact that I left the mansion before 10 o'clock, I would have needed to sprint here to even have a chance at making it on time. Arcueid, meanwhile, seems like she must have arrived at 10 on the dot.
ああ、悪かったよ。こっちもなんとか10時に合わせたかったんだけど、こっそり出かけるのに思いのほか手間取ったんだ。お前が携帯を持ってたら
I would have been able to get in touch with her to let her know, but the thought of texting back and forth with a vampire strikes me as completely insane.
いや、なんでもない。次からはちゃんと時間を厳守する。今回は多めに見てくれ。
もう、これから殺し合いに行くのに全然自覚がないみたいね、あなたは。
Arcueid's pretty angry. You can almost see the steam coming out of her ears. Is it possible she actually got here way earlier than we'd agreed to meet?
なあ、アルクエイド。何時からここで待ってたんだ？
私は起きてからすぐここに来たから、やってきたのは7時ぐらいかな。
Damn.
7時って、じゃあ3時間以上も待ってたのか。
What was she planning on doing after showing up 3 whole hours ahead of the schedule?
なんかおかしいみたい、私。
Arcueid muses out loud to herself. Seems like I'm not the only one surprised by her actions.
まあ、遅れた俺も悪いけど、そっちにだって問題はあるぞ。約束の時間より前に来て、勝手に待たれても困る。
それとこれとは別問題でしょ。式が遅れたってことは変わらないんだから。
それはそうだけど、しかしなんだって3時間も待ってたんだ。間違えてきたにしろ、それだけあれば部屋に戻っていてもよかったじゃないか。
そんなの私にだってわからないわ。なんとなく楽しいし、このまま式を待っていてもいいかなって思ってたらいつの間にか10時になってただけなんだから。
楽しかったってなんで？
さあ、自分にだってわからないって言ったでしょ。式に殺されたせいかしらね。私、体のどこかが壊れて治ってないみたい。自分でおかしいって思うんだけど、体のどこがどうしておかしいのか点でわからないんだもの。
I don't have an easy answer to a statement like that. I'm the bastard responsible for dismantling Arcueid's body into 17 different pieces. If she tells me that something's now wrong with it as a result, what can I do? What can I do but bow my head and apologize?
まあいいわ。時間もなくなっちゃったし、無駄話をしている暇なんてないものね。
ああ、そう言ってもらえると実に助かる。
でも次も遅れるようなことになったら、その時は直接家に迎えに行くわ。約束を守れないのは式の方なんだから文句はないでしょ。
それはダメ。約束はちゃんと守る。守りますよ、そりゃ。けど不測の事態はいつでも起きるだろう。時間に遅れるなんてのはその最たるものじゃないか。なんで間違っても二度とうちには来ないように。ただでさえ秋葉に誤解されたままなんだ。 これ以上引っかき回されたらマジで部屋を犬小屋にされかねない。
ふん。アキハってシキに全然似てない妹さんのこと？
似てないは余計だけど、そうだよ。
そうなんだ。シキはそんなに妹さんが怖いの？
な、どこの世界に妹を怖がる。
His little sister is the sentence that I can't quite bring myself to finish. It's not like I'm particularly afraid of Akia, but I do find her a little difficult to deal with.
単に妹には余計な心配をさせたくないだけだよ。昔からあいつには迷惑をかけてきたから、できるだけこのまま何も知らないままでいてほしい。
なるほど。あの妹さんには優しいのね、シキは。
基本的に俺は誰にでも優しくしているよ。最近になって例外が一人できちまっただけで。
それって私のことだ。
わかんないやつだな。今のは皮肉で言ったんだけど、褒めたんじゃなくて悪口ってやつな。
そうなの？でも私はシキの例外ってことでしょ？私ね、そういうの嫌いじゃないんだ。
Arcueid keeps on smiling. It was a carefree smile, like that of a child. I feel strangely flushed. It seems I'm running a temperature. I think that if I stare at her much longer, it might draw out something sinister in me, so I pointedly avert my gaze.
本題に入ろう、アルクエイド。昨日と同じように吸血鬼探しをするんだろう。
と、そうだったわね。今夜はメガネは外さなくていいから、私の後についてきて。
Ooh, this music. We stroll through the city's evening glow. Arcueid said she had a specific destination in mind, but hasn't let me in on the details. As a result, it feels more to me as though the two of us are simply taking a leisurely stroll together through the city streets.
今夜はピンポイントで見てもらうわ。まずは騒がしい方ね。
So saying, Arcueid turns us in the direction of the downtown area by the station. The city doesn't sleep, even though it's now past 10 o'clock. An array of various lights and sounds all line up to create an exhibit of civilization. It's a city where fashions change every few months, and through it strides the vampire in white, her figure unchanged through the centuries. Well, maybe centuries is a bit of an exaggeration. I just remembered hearing that vampires are immortal and can live more or less forever, so it feels like an appropriate word somehow.
シキ、あのビルを見て。6階建ての細い方。入っていく人間たちに線は見える？
普通だな。死者は出入りしてない。
外れね。次に行きましょう。はい、メガネかけて。先は長いんだからあんまり無理しないように。
Arcueid had mentioned this afternoon that she'd made some educated guesses about where the dead might be patrolling. It turned out that she'd found 6 places in total. The first were 2 busts, but the third, a rental property, was the real deal. The security guard going in and out of one of the vacant tenant rooms was a cluster of lines of death. The look on my face told Arcueid everything she needed to know. She entered the room, leaving me in the corridor, and came back out again a minute later, unruffled.
ごめんなさい。ここも外れ。低級の式だった。この辺りは昨日借り尽くしたから完全に警戒されたわね。
Although it was faint, I could sense a hint of disappointment from Arcueid as she shrugged her shoulders.
何よ、ニヤニヤして。私の失敗が楽しいの？
いや、違うよ。いつも気楽なお前でも気を落とすことがあるんだなって。
それどういう意味？ 私だって人並みに壊したり潰したりしますよーだ。
I would have preferred it if she said she could feel sad and troubled, just like anyone else, instead. But since that's probably a tall order for her, I just keep my mouth shut. We sneak out of the rental property and head toward our next destination. The time is close to midnight. As one would expect, there aren't as many pedestrians about, and the lit neon lights are also becoming fewer and farther between. The brake lights of passing cars streak by. Arcueid dances down the street like she's trying to catch up to them. After striking out a fifth time, we head toward our final destination. It appears to be in the residential district. Arcueid doesn't say it, but I could somehow tell that this one was going to be the real deal.
しかし分かってはいたけどまだるっこしいな。足で調査するしかないなんて前時代的にも程がある。
昔から吸血鬼退治は面倒なものだもの。町のどこかにある親元の棺を探し当てるんだから、そう簡単には終わらないわ。
そっか、ならいい。って別に嫌がってるわけじゃないぞ。単にアルクエイドも大変だなって思っただけで。
私は別に大変じゃないよ。決められた作業だもの。手順を踏んでいけばきちんと終わるものだし。
I absentmindedly respond with a simple I see. When it comes to vampire slaying, Arcueid is coolly rational. She will doggedly pursue and complete any task that might bring her even one step closer to her goal, no matter how menial they may be. I suppose that even if you're able to jump 10 meters in the air, it doesn't mean all your behavior is equally over the top. Now that I think about it, the same was true on the day we first met. She's more than capable of pulling off the same stunts as Vlav if she felt like it. But despite that, she had shown discretion for human society when on the hunt for other vampires.
ってなんだよ、人の顔をジロジロ見て。ちゃんと前向いてないと転ぶぞ。
やっぱりこれって不思議なことよね。ねえ、シキは私といて平気なの？吸血鬼退治とか怖くないの？
はあ？
I can't help but be taken aback by her sudden question, or rather by the fact that she's only now asking. She wants to know if I mind being with her? I know the answer to that without even having to think about it.
別に平気かどうかなんてただの襟好みだろ。俺たちは利害が一致した協力関係なんだし。そりゃ吸血鬼は怖いけど、町のためなら我慢するぞ。
Mutters Arcueid, seemingly convinced. After that, our conversation trails off. In complete silence, we walk down the deserted sidewalk. We're a long way from the station now. We may not have much to show as a result for the past 2 hours, but strangely enough, it doesn't feel like the time was wasted. The problem hasn't been resolved, but we're definitely prevented the situation from becoming worse. Perhaps writing that feeling of fulfillment.
でも気を使わなくていいのはいい。
I speak the feelings I've never put into words before.
シキ？
だから気楽だってこと。俺は根本的にろくでなしだからさ。お前みたいに頑丈なやつがいてくれると、なんていうか。
It's reassuring. My heart can be at peace. My vision is broken. Tonoshiki's cognition is corrupted. You are something that shouldn't even exist. Those obvious conclusions that I've lived with for the past 7 years, they all seem to fade away when I'm with her.
ねえねえ、それってつまり私が式を楽しくさせてるってこと？
逆。な、おっかない吸血鬼と一緒なんだぞ。災難極まってるだろ。気が楽っていうのは どう転んだって今以下にはならないってことだよ。
おっかないってどの辺が？
山ほどある。殺しても生き返ってひたすら追いかけてくるとか、3000度の高熱をあちちで済ますところとか、ガムテープとかビルの屋上まで駆け上がるところとか、駅前をお釈迦にするところとか。
And the fact that you used all your power to protect me from Vloff's billowing cold.
岩盤をちゃぶ台返しするところとか、人の体によくわかんないものを塗りつけたりとか、あと昼間に学校に来るところとか。
はい、そこまでで結構です。シキの気持ちはよくわかりました。
いいのか？まだもうちょっとだけあるぞ。
いいわよ、自覚あるから。ふんだ、どうせ私は吸血鬼ですものね。
Arcueid ups the pace and starts speeding off.
待てってば。お前が本気になったら追いつかないぞ、俺。
I also break into a light jog and chase after her, retreating back. Our sixth destination is now just around the corner. We've arrived at an apartment complex located square in the heart of this residential area. An utterly unremarkable 4-story building, nothing unusual about it. Every floor has around 4 units, most of which have lit lights on. The residents have yet to go to sleep, and are each passing the time in their own way. Whether those activities are above board or not isn't something that people looking in from outside can know for sure. I can see the lines. The stress it puts on my brain makes me want to throw up. This place is strange. The lines running along the building don't look any different than usual, but there's something oddly chilling about them. Perhaps it's the brilliant white of the light. Perhaps it's the brilliant white of the light leaking from the rooms. Or maybe it's the woman just returning to the apartment, on whose body the lines of death draws a dense, whirling maelstrom.
そう。やっぱり当たりね。
Rather than heading for the entrance up to the complex, Arcueid sets off down the slope leading to an underground garage. A shutter had been lowered on over the entrance.
普通のマンションだけど、ここなのか、アルクエイド。
ええ、このシャッター、人よけと消臭の結界がかかってる。あれはカメラかな。私の姿を捉えてるけど、中の死者たちにもう逃げる時間はない。昼間、私一人でやってきていたら逃げられていたでしょうけど。
Arcueid stoops down and puts her hand on the edge of the shutter. I thought she would pull it up in one go, but...
シキ、このシャッター切れる？
そりゃ切れるけど、いいのか？
ええ、私よりシキが敵に。無理やり開けると警報が鳴るでしょ。
She's got a point. Now that the time has come to act, Arcueid is totally level-headed.
シキはガレージの入り口にいて。ここが巣なら、中には10体近いアンデッドがいるはず。相手が1体だけならシキの方が強いけど、2体以上になると不利でしょうから。
別に俺はそこまで。まあいいか。わかった。切るぞ。
I sever the lines on the shutter. With a crashing sound, the iron door falls into the concrete floor. I peer through the hole cut in the shutter into the inky blackness beyond.
なんだ、この匂い。
The odor is repulsive. The smell of rotting flesh pervades the inside of the garage, and the air is heavy with the scent of blood. Oh, there they are. A group forms, each member escorting massive lines. They must have noticed that they had visitors as soon as I cut through the shutter. In total, there are 22 of them. With that many of the dead around, there's no doubt that this place is their sire's stronghold.
アルクエイド、予想より数が多い。ここが根城なんだろう。ならやっぱり俺も。
ここは根城じゃないわ。ただの食堂よ。大丈夫。起きたばっかりの節なんて虫みたいなものだし。シキはそこで待ってて。すぐ片付けちゃうから。
Okay. Okay. My brain just isn't built to keep up with the unexpected series of events unfolding before me. First, I was forced to bear witness to this gore-clogged grave of a garage. And now I'm watching a magnificent figure skating display. The combination doesn't exactly leave a good taste in my mouth. Scores of the dead wake up and swoon down upon their visitors. They are torn apart by a single swing of her arm. The fangs swarm in. Dead and flesh scatters in all directions, yet not one drop of that spray falls upon the figure in white whirling at the center. I've seen it time and time again at this point, but it's still enough to take my breath away. That's right. There's no way those corpses could put up a fight against her. Their abilities are different, their views are different, their planes of existence are different. This is what it means to defeat someone with one hand tied behind your back, to be truly peerless. In Arcueid's eyes, vampires that merely suck blood probably look no different from us humans. They're still prey. A headache courses through me. It's the price I pay for exposing my eyes, but I can't put my glasses back on just yet. Even though Arcueid said that she could take care of it alone, there are still more than 10 corpses remaining. At this pace, she'll wipe them out in less than a minute, but until her fight is over, I won't. She getting tired? Arcueid is acting strange. Her movements are becoming sluggish. She hasn't taken any hits at all. She hasn't even let the dead get close enough for that. And yet... each and every time she tears apart one of the dead, her face seems to contort in agony. She's a sweeping wave of devastation. Before I know it, there is only one of the dead remaining. There's no longer a need for excessive violence. She can settle this with a single swing of her arm. And yet... as though reaching a final, violent crescendo, without showing even a speck of restraint, the white figure pulverizes the thing that was once human. Is that it? It's over. At the heart of that bloodbath stands Arcueid, shoulders slumped, straining to catch her breath. That idiot. I don't know what's come over her, but she wasted away too much energy. If she were acting normally, she'd have taken care of them effortlessly, and with only a tenth of the violence.
Arcueid.
I call out to her from the entrance to the garage.
あ、どう？見ててくれたシキ。今夜はこれで終わりだし、あなたの前だし、いつもより張り切ってやっちゃった。
お前な、こんな物騒な張り切っちゃったとか初めて聞いたぞ。
I breathe out a sigh. Jeez, give me a break already. To think that excessive violence was simply her trying to show off in front of me. I seriously don't know how to respond to that.
まあ、確かにちょっと見とれたのは事実だけ。
The cheerful atmosphere is cut short. My thoughts come to a screeching halt. My consciousness goes blank. The thing before me is so outlandish, I can't help but doubt my own eyes. Is that a figure on the right side? What is that? How long has that been there? No. How long had I simply failed to notice it? The Black Panther that appeared in the back alley. What? Is that a gorilla? The burning corpses. The dead are masquerading as humans. I've seen all sorts of strange things these past couple of days. I went through all kinds of new experiences, but they were all things with a basis in reality. Variations on entities that exist in the real world, an extension of things that we'd already know and comprehend. But that thing is different. The air it gives off is different. The species it belongs to is different. The process through which it came into being is different. That creature is utterly alien. It shouldn't exist. Not in this city. Not even in Arcueid's world. What the fuck? Is that like a spider gorilla monkey? Is it a spider monkey? Is that what it is? The thing that has the same shape as a human. It carries the same scent as the dead. However, it has renounced all trappings of humanity. It is not a member of the Homo sapiens. I sense no signs of the respiration critical for its life. I can't spot any faculties that seem to respond to light. Yet my instincts can still understand, however vaguely, that this creature's sole purpose is to prey on others. Even though I've never seen anything quite like this, I do know something that resembles it. A spider. My thoughts are still frozen in place. I can't remember how to use my throat. With a grisly sound, the flesh of its abdomen peels away like a receding tide. Oh lord! That unfolding flesh wasn't just the fat from its stomach, but something that solidified into what seemed like arms. The multitude of arms undulates eerily like the tentacles of a cephalopod. And at their tips,
Arcueid!
I cry out. Sensing something is amiss, Arcueid spins around. One of the unwound tentacles lashes out like a whip, aiming straight for the nape of Arcueid's neck. It happened in an instant, but it still wasn't fast enough to take Arcueid by surprise. Her claws were enough to tear those dead to shreds like scraps of paper. Against them, the fate of that vulgar web of flesh is foregone conclusion. Whoa, okay. Except her air-rending claws weren't enough to sever that whip of flesh. Arcueid's glancing blow does little to slow its advance, and it snakes around her white figure before sinking its teeth into her back. Oh lord, I hear the click of a trigger being pulled in my skull. A grotesque dead hiding in wait, things like that can happen. An unanticipated hardness of its skin, things like that can happen. Far more repugnant than the dead that came before, things like that can happen. As if that wasn't enough. Conceited enough to think that it can kill Arcueid, it releases a second, then a third whip of flesh. That can't happen. How foolish. That idiot. She's not the sort of woman to be bested by a monster like that. If only she hadn't done that. If only she hadn't been so reckless. I can't believe this. She's sustained a new wound. She let herself be driven into a corner. Her breathing is ragged. Her movements are shaky. She just sat there and took a hit that even I would have been able to dodge. What the hell? I'm so glad that I didn't put on my glasses. If I had, I might have smashed them into pieces in fury. The grotesque-looking dead leaps around in what seems like excitement. It stands before the prey it would ordinarily never have been able to reach. A vulgar smile spreads across its face, extending all the way to its cheeks. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. Do not fuck with me.
Don't fuck with me! I have the power of God and anime on my side! Wait,
It's mine. It's my responsibility. My duty. It's because of me. It's because I killed her that she's fallen to the floor. Yet even though I killed her for no other reason than my own pleasure, she forgave me. She forgave my failures as a human. I won't let those misshapen maws get the taste of her. go, Shiki. I slice, lunging at its headlong like an animal. With no artistry in my movements, I simply sever it. Am I running toward it? Is it coming toward me? It doesn't matter, my legs will not falter. The second arm is unleashed. Unlike the sweeping roundhouse swing that came before, it's a tight fist, thrown such that form from my perspective. It looks like a single point, a jab, in boxing terms, a technique that involves minimal movement, but exceptional speed. It may lack power, but it moves faster than the human eye can follow, and by extension, faster than the body can dodge. Just split that shit open. No problem at all. If I can't dodge it, then I'll just have to tear it apart as it comes to me. I chase after the fleeting back. The red lines of death go haywire as they're disconnected. I don't even have to think as I even efficiently sever each successive line. The creature was doing its best to defend itself, but its left leg is now on the verge of death. The only thing left to worry about is its bite, but I've already reached the place where I needed to be. I pierced the rumbling point located to the upper right of its navel. Nice. I heard no screams of agony as it died. Like a mechanical doll whose batteries had been removed, the grotesque dead ceased all movement and passed away. Damn. After finishing the job, I'm finally able to breathe again. The surroundings are scattered with fragments of rotten flesh. The dead that I took down have already turned to ash. It doesn't look like anything happened to the dead that Arcueid killed. I guess the grotesque-looking one was a special case. But I killed it. It may have been a surreal appearance, but I took its life without hesitation. I can't think clearly. That was nothing but mindless violence just now, and I did not take any of Sensei's lessons into consideration. I simply let my emotions, mind, run wild, even though I knew I shouldn't have. I acted like the killer that I always feared. Regret, self-condemnation, loathing, disappointment. Once I calm down, I will surely be racked by those emotions. But that's okay. I can live with that. I picked that over Arcueid getting hurt any day. Just now, for the first time ever, I used my power for the sake of a single woman, without hesitation, and keeping full control of my sanity as I did so. You good, Arcueid? Turning around, I see that Arcueid's shoulders are trembling, and that she's struggling to breathe.
大丈夫かアルクエイド
I rush over to her. She's clutching at her chest like she's trying to hold back the pain, panting in anguish, like an animal that can barely remember how to breathe.
バカ油断しすぎだあんな考えなしで暴れるから大丈夫か体の傷開いちまったのか
Arcueid's back is shaking heavily. This is awful. It can't be good for her to be sweating out of every pore like this. Thinking she might have sustained a wound on her chest, I stooped down to get a look at her face, and... Why are you laughing?
おい
もう仕切ったらけだもの今のすごいちょっとすごすぎると思う
Jesus. This is terrible. Arcueid wasn't doubled over from the pain of her wounds. She was just holding her stomach to try and contain her laughter.
嘘泣きとかお前人間社会に毒されすぎてないかというかそうだよな心配した俺がバカだった頑丈なお前があれぐらいで痛がるはずないもんな
あ、ひどい痛いのは本当だったんだからあとちょっと追い込まれていたら誰かさんに切られたお腹がまた開いていたところよ
That's just playing dirty. I would still be at fault for no matter what I'd say, so I have no choice but to stay quiet.
はいはい。わかりました。俺が悪うございましたとも。さっきのバカ笑いはどうあれ、お前が無事でよかったよ。
I retort with a hint of sarcasm. And then, as you can see, she's got that mysterious grin on her face again.
なんだよ。まだ何かあるのか。
それと嘘泣きじゃないよ。嬉しいのも本当。だってシキがすごく頼りになるんだもん。
My cheeks are burning. I try my best to turn my face away from her sudden surprise attack.
何？どうかしたシキ？
Why is your heart beating like that?
どうもしてない。ちょっと暑いんで。ほら。
Seriously, you know, was a flimsy attempt at playing it off. I keep my gaze turned away from Arcueid. I try and hide my blushing cheeks with my hands, but doing so only makes them feel even hotter. And besides, what's with that face? Just what is she thinking when she praises my skills as a murderer in a grim situation like this? I wish she had a better grasp on the right time and place for that sort of thing. She takes femme fatale to a whole new level. Or am I the weird one for feeling this happy about it? If so, then I should settle down. I just need to collect myself and let the flush from that surprise attack pass over me. Okay.
よし、落ち着いた。で、これからどうしよっか。ほら、ここが敵の本拠地じゃないにしても、中に入って手がかりを探すとか。
そうね。人が来る前に調べてもいいかも。棺の手がかりはないでしょうけど、他の食堂の場所が。
Well, that didn't work at all. The pounding in my chest hasn't abated in the slightest. My face is still flushed. I'm in a daze. Whatever Arcueid's saying goes right over my head. But I don't think there's anything I can do about it. There's not a man alive that could resist her charms when she says such things with that smile on her face. This feeling, this headache, this heaviness in my limbs, it's all because of Arcueid.
シキ？ちょっと大丈夫？
You're not gonna kill her again, are you?
すごい熱。あの死者、そんなに見えにくい相手だったの？
いや、そんなことはなかったけど、お前、なんか、近くない。
My head won't work. Although I'm still conscious, my thoughts are sluggish, and my body's senses feel awfully distant.
ここの調査はやめて休憩にしましょう。どうせ手がかりなんて残さないやつだし、今日は食堂を潰せただけで十分よ。これだけの働きアリを失ったらしばらく活動はできないし、もう自分から外に出てくるしかなくなるわ。
I feel her pull me by the arm. I nod groggingly at Arcueid's words, and we leave the gore-smeared underground garage behind us. I sit on the park bench and give my body a chance to recover. After about half an hour, the feeling has returned to my limbs. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but it seems looking at the lines on that grotesque dead really took a toll on me. Arcueid is standing in front of the bench. Do you have an explanation for that? Whatever that thing was? Because I would love to know. Ever since she dragged me all the way back here, she's just been glaring at me, as you can see.
あのな、アルクエイド。めまいも消えたんだし、そのいかにも俺が悪いって顔はもうやめてくれ。そもそも、あの時はああでもしないと傷が開いたんだろ、お前。
あれは言葉のあや。あんな編集ぐらい何とでもできたわ。そんなことよりあなたの体よ。昨日の話ちゃんと覚えてる？
目を使いすぎるなって話だろ。わかってる。俺だって廃人にはなりたくない。次からは気をつける。
はあ、鈍感にも程がある。 あなたに危機感を植え付けるのは難儀そうね。ま、一番身近にして最高級の死に慣れているんだから、それも当然か。ほんと、どうしてやろうかしら。一度思いっきり怖がらせてあげましょうか。
What's that supposed to mean? What is she getting so upset about? Someone, please enlighten me.
最高級の恐怖なら、お前に追いかけられた時のでお腹いっぱいだよ。この目が危険だってことも、言われなくとも分かってる。
After all, I've only had to live with them for the past 7 years.
さっきのだって、いつもならめまいは起こさなかった。あれは単に。
Actually, looking back on it, I didn't start feeling dizzy because I stared at the lines of death for far too long, but because I couldn't stop thinking about arcueid.
単に、何？
単に、歩き尽くしで疲れていただけだ。お前は平気だろうけど、人間は疲れるんだよ。2時間歩きっぱなしだと。
それならいいけど、シキってたまに自分を客観視しすぎてない？その魔眼のせいで自分嫌いになってるとか？
いや、自分が嫌いになれたら、目のことで悩んだりはしないだろう。言っておくけど、俺は自分のことも周りのことも、やけになって見たことは一度もないよ。
そうなんだ。ちょっと意外。
Of course I haven't. I take that fact as a point of pride, a source of strength. Someone once told me that even a person like me has a purpose. If that's the case, then I don't want to lose myself to despair before the time comes to fulfill it. It isn't much as convictions go, but it's that pride which has carried me this far, so I believe anyway.
それに、この目だってそんなに悪いことばかりでもないし。裸眼でいると色々と不都合があるけど、食欲が薄れるのは手間が省けて楽だよ。もともと小食だから相性はいいと思う。
魔眼による食欲の減少と持って生まれた消化機能の関係は私にはわからないけど。
いや、ごめん。今のは冗談というか、本気で取られると恥ずかしいというかですね。
真面目な話よ。あなたの目は後天的なものと言っていたけど、それは現れるのが遅かっただけの話かもしれない。
現れるのが遅かっただけ？
ええ。超能力は突然変異体だけど、それにだって誕生する土壌が必要なの。四季のような目を持つ先祖はいなかったとしても、似通った目を持った親はいたかもしれない。魔術師は知識と身体回路を子供に移植するけど、あなたのような異能は交配による遺伝子だけで伝わっていって、覚醒遺伝として現れる場合が多いから。
交配による遺伝子？つまり、親父から？
というより、あなたの一族全体の話ね。家系の中であなただけ特別という考え方の方が不自然よ。あなたに異能があるのなら、あなたの家系すべてが特別と考えるべき。
I couldn't help but laugh at such a ridiculous supposition. Is she suggesting that it's genetic? That all members of the Tono family, including Aki and my father, have eyes like these? I can say for a fact that that isn't the case. The only strange one in our family is me. Besides, if I hadn't gotten involved in that accident, my eyes never would have ended up like this. They aren't hereditary at all. They're just a complication.
でも、忠告は受け取っておく。ありがとう、アルクエイド。
何？いきなりかしこまって。私、あなたにとって嫌な話をしたと思うんだけど。
嫌な話じゃなかったよ。全部、俺の体を気遣ってくれてのことだったからさ。今日の学校での事前調査だって、俺に無理させたくなかったんだろう。お前だって昼間は辛いのに。だから、ありがとう。 ここまでされてやっと気がつくあたり、お礼を言える立場でもないけど。
There
で
are the
も
cat ears.
そういうアルクエイドはどうなんだ。腹の傷本当に塞がってるんだろうな。
そっちはちゃんと塞がってるけど、なんで？
いや、さっき調子悪そうだったから。何もされてないのに苦しそうだったというか、イライラしていたというか。
All of a sudden, I feel a sudden twinge in my chest. It isn't painful. If I had to describe it, I'd say it was more of an itchy sensation.
シキ？
いや、なんだこれ。
Without quite knowing why, I slipped my hand down the collar of my shirt. Squish. Something's there. There's a paint-like substance clinging to my chest.
なんだろう。なんか濡れてる。
I withdraw my hand from under my shirt. There, clinging to my palm. It's a splatter of bright red blood. Where did that come from? Yet another odd sensation. It takes me an unreasonably long time to realize that it's coming from the old scar on my chest. Oh.
シキ、それ。
変だな。痛くもないし傷も開いてないのに胸から血が滲んでる。
Why do you look so distraught? How awfully red. A red liquid so beautiful, so pure, as to be utterly captivating.
ああ、さっきのやつの爪がかすっていたとか。痛みはないんだし、血もこれしか滲んでこないみたいだし、気にする必要は。
Arcueid's still staring at my hand, entranced. No, that's not quite accurate. She isn't staring at my hand so much as the red blood still clinging to it.
アルクエイド。
She doesn't respond. Even so, I can tell her breathing has grown erratic. She's panting, grasping as though she's in pain.
おい、アルクエイド。どうした？やっぱり傷が痛んで。
I grab Arcueid's shoulder, but then... Is she attracted by the blood because of her, vampire shit? That's my guess. She shakes me off as though she's trying to escape.
アルクエイド。
シキ。
She calls my name in a voice that, if only for a moment, contained an edge of hostility.
違う。私、そんなこと思ってない。
Uh-huh? Arcueid looks away
どうした
awkwardly.
んだよ。変だぞお前。体まだ回復してないんじゃないのか。
そうね。ちょっと無理しすぎたみたい。だから、私帰るね。
What the fuck?
ああ。まあ、どうせ今夜はこれでおしまいだって言ってたけど。
うん。また明日、ここで待ってる。
And there she goes. I don't even have a chance at stopping her, let alone chasing after her. Without even looking me in the eye, she kicks off and launches herself into the expanse of the sky above, like a rabbit hopping on the surface of the moon. That was weird.